I started an online business 9 days ago, and I was able to get $3,500 cash collected, and I want to walk you guys through that entire process. So my name is Jayde Syrnyk, formerly known as Jade Gorling. Recently got married, so there was a bit of a name change. I have been scaling digital marketing agencies for the past 7 years. The first one that I ever grew was to $250,000 per month. However, for the past 2 years, I've taken a little bit of a hiatus. So I'm going to go with you guys some of the results, what we've done, what our lessons learned are, where we're at, and then we can talk about everything else that we're going to be doing in the next coming weeks. Basically, what we've been doing, we launched ads 9 days ago, and we've been spending $150 per day on ads. Those ads are so that we can generate new customers for our business. We spent exactly $1,350 Canadian, and we closed 4 deals out of that. Now, the first couple deals that we closed, we actually decided that we were going to try and get as many customers in the door as we could. So we were going to lower the barrier to entry. This is a performance-based agency model. And so essentially what that means is we're running ads for businesses so that they can generate leads for their business so that they essentially have more people that they can sell to. The whole idea with it being performance-based means instead of them paying us a monthly retainer, they basically are paying for the result. The customers are still required to have ad spend because we're an advertising agency. We're running all of these ads on social media using social media advertising. They're responsible for their own ad spend. If we get them an appointment or an estimate, that's actually when we get paid. However, we have to have a setup fee so that they actually have some sort of skin in the game and they're actually committed to the process, because we have done offers in the past where we just said, okay, sign up for the service and then we'll bill you after we get the result. It didn't really work out for us that well. So instead, what we do is we get someone to pay money to us so that they're committed to it. And that can either be in the form of a setup fee or that could be the form of your first number of estimates or appointments or whatever that actually looks like. And so we'll dive into that in a little bit more detail in a second here. So the first 3 deals were at $500. The next deal was at $2,000. And I'll explain why we did that. But first, I want to talk about something that's really important. People always say on sales calls, the price is what it is today, and the price is probably going to be going up. People are like, oh, that's a gimmicky marketing sales tactic. And the truth be told is it's not. In my experience in owning agencies, the price always goes up. The reason why is because as businesses start to grow, so do their expenses. They bring on more people, they have more overhead, it costs them more money to advertise. There's a bunch of different metrics that go into it that are going to cause you to have obviously a more expensive business to run. That cost obviously gets transferred to your customers. The other thing for me is I'm always going after a higher caliber customer. As I start to get more demand for my business, more people are going to be asking for it, which means I only want to work with people who are going to be the top tier customers. I don't want to work with people who are going to fall into the cheap and difficult realm, because as most of us know, if you've been running a business, people who spend less money are usually more difficult because they don't have the systems in place. They're usually a little bit more anxious about how they're going to run their business. People with more money, they usually just give you the money and they say, okay, I'll get the result. We'll talk to you later. They're easy customers to deal with. So the price went up, and it went up faster than we anticipated, because one of the main pitfalls that we were running into, or I guess roadblocks, was that customers were paying us $500, but then they weren't showing up to onboarding. Now, we're targeting customers that are used to spending thousands and thousands of dollars per month on ads. The problem is that when they are only spending $500 for this marketing agency that they don't really know, they're not committed to anything, because $500 is really a drop in the bucket to what they're used to. So we can actually get these people to show up to onboarding. The problem with our performance-based offers, we're really only going to be making money off of them if they're actually getting appointments and estimates, because we don't make a lot of money off of the setup fee, because that primarily goes to ads and that primarily goes to our salesperson. At this point, we didn't have a salesperson hired because we were just trying to get as many customers as we could. So Zach was taking a lot of the sales calls himself. Anyways, fast forward to them not showing up to their onboardings. That was our very first problem that we had in the first week. People weren't showing up. We can't get their ads live. What do we do? So the next course of action was, okay, we have to get them more committed. Well, how do you get people more committed? We're going to charge more money. So instead of doing a $500 setup fee, that's when the $2,000 setup fee was introduced. All of a sudden, that's when things started to change. Our very first customer on the $2,000, they showed up to their onboarding. They were ready. They were prepared. It went a lot more smooth. However, we're only 1 for 1, so I'm not really going to go into too much detail about that. The next problem that we had is on Monday, we had a bunch of people show up. We were able to get some sales out of that, which was great. It was the first day of having meetings, and that's what you want, right? But what happened after that was we started to have a crazy no-show rate. And so basically that means we scheduled a call with somebody. They're not showing up to their meeting. If they don't show up, we don't have an opportunity to sell to them. What happened from there was we were wondering what's going on. All day Tuesday, no one shows up. All day Wednesday, no one shows up. And so we're wondering what's going on. How come suddenly our no-show rate is through the roof? We're used to about a 50% for agency services, which really isn't that great, but business owners just don't show up to calls. So it's about 50% for us. Consumers, it's generally quite high, which is nice because consumers are actually more committal than business owners. Weird fact, but it is what it is. So anyways, we looked at our ads because we were like, we need to dissect this. By Thursday, it's like we spent about $300, which isn't a huge amount of money, but I mean, $300 wasted is $300 wasted. We opened up the ads and what we learned is that we had checked on our Facebook ads that we could have AI text generated copy, which essentially was taking a combination of some of our old ads that we've had in different target markets. And it basically just put together this scramble of an ad that made no sense. So strange people were booking. I don't know why they were booking because what they were clicking on didn't really make a whole lot of sense. We turned that off. All of a sudden, Thursday, things were getting better. Another cool thing that happened to us is one of our old sales guys actually reached out to us and said, hey, I'm actually looking for a sales gig. This is someone who we had been working with for the past 5 years. And we were like, hey, you know what? We have meetings. We started a new agency. He knew that we did because I had been posting some of this information on Facebook. And so we turned his calendar on. Boom, first call on Friday. That's when he was able to get that $2,000 setup. So we changed a couple of those metrics. All of a sudden, things were going good. As of Monday today, so it's been a week of us taking meetings. He did get another verbal commitment. I don't necessarily take verbal commitments for face value because it's not a sale until you get the money, but positive response is a positive response. So that's been really what we're going for, or what we're going through right now. The other thing that we're noticing is a lot of business owners don't have access to their Facebook business manager. We run ads on Facebook. And so what we're finding is this is really putting a bit of a showstopper on our onboarding process or making it long, drawn out. And we have a few different problems that we need to solve, which is a little bit frustrating. But I think one of the workarounds that we're going to try to do is we're just going to run everything from a central page. And then if we run everything from a central page, essentially we can set up their account. We can hook their credit card up to it for ad spend. And then we can just get everything up and running really quickly. And we don't have to worry about any of that. The risk with that is if they cancel their credit card, they put a stop payment or anything like that, when ads go to get billed, then we're going to have to clean up that account. So it does put a little bit of risk on our part. However, there's things that we can, stops and checks that we can put in to, I guess, mitigate that a little bit. But that's really what we're ultimately going to probably go towards. If someone has access to their business manager, we obviously won't do that, but we want to get these people onboarded quickly, efficiently, effectively, so that eventually we can delegate that out to somebody who's going to be onboarding, because right now we're doing everything ourselves. If you want to follow along, make sure to give me a follow. I'm going to be posting weekly updates on how our agency is going. Our entire goal is to get it up to $30,000 per month within the first 3 months. We've done this before, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem, but you know what? It's been 2 years. Every agency is different. Every season is different. So we're going to notice that there's problems that we've faced in the past that we are going to come across again. And there's going to be new problems that we've absolutely never had to deal with. But if you're running an agency or an online business, there are probably some lessons learned that you can get from this. It's not going to be anecdotal advice on here's what you should do because I have this idea about it. I'm going to be walking you guys through our entire process so you can follow along our journey. So thanks so much for watching, and we will see you guys next week with another update.